framework of how you study chapter 3 of your book, Inflammation and Repair. And the exams will be taken from your book. Okay? But more or less, if you're able to understand the different things in this lecture, 90% you'll be able to understand your chapter 3. Okay? So first, inflammation. So inflammation is actually a complex process wherein there will be interplay between the blood vessels together with its contents, particularly the leukocytes and the molecules within this plasma. That is actually very important to eradicate or eliminate the offending agent like organisms like bacteria or viruses, etc. So inflammation is a protective response of the body against the offending organism. Okay? But in some instances, it may actually cause injury or damage to your tissues by causing abnormal response. Okay? This could be unregulated or untoward production of antibody towards your self-antigen. So it includes several steps in the process, particularly recognition of the offending organism, if it's a bacteria or the microbes. Then, through recognition, the leukocytes will go out into the extracellular space or intravascular space. So they are recruited initially from the inside, but goes out, okay, to remove this offending substance or organism. Then, once the offending organism is neutralized or eliminated, then there would be stoppings of this inflammation. So it is regulated by substances also being released. But if the injury is or the infection causes significant damage, then there would be a repair process that would ensue. So in inflammation, repair is a common entity that follows after you neutralize the offending organism. So, as I said a while ago, this is a complex reaction of a vascularized tissue, okay, that would bring about your leukocytes together with the molecular elements, particularly the plasma proteins, the complement components of the site of injury, to neutralize that offending organism. So it could be localized or systemic effect. For example, localized, it could be just a portion of the tissue thing. For example, in pharyngitis, just the pharynx. But sometimes even pharyngitis could have systemic effect. Okay? So it may present with fever, with chills, rigors, etc. And this is due to the effect of your mediators that would initiate or amplify this response. Okay? It would determine the pattern together with the severity and the clinical and pathologic manifestations. Meaning, if it's mild, okay, it could only be constrained for about a day or two, which is an acute form. Okay? But if the organism is severe, cannot be reversed right away, it may proceed to chronic inflammation. Okay? So, differentiating one from the other, for instance, acute, the onset is usually just within minutes or hours. Okay? And the inflammatory cells that you would see would be the polymorphonuclears, particularly the neutrophils. Tissue injury is usually mild or sometimes absent. So it could go to resolution without significant damage. Okay? So it's self-limited most of the time. Your usual cardinal signs of acute inflammation would be prominent. So there would be redness, there would be swelling, okay? There would be heat, there could be also associated loss of function in the area. Okay? In comparison, it's chronic, so we don't think days sometimes. So kapag hindi mo neutralize, then you'll be activating your monocytes to become macrophages, okay? Together with your lymphocytes that could present the antigen, like your bacteria, your macrophages. So in here, the injury would become become significant, that would lead repair process afterwards through fibrosis. Okay? And use of inflammatory cardinal sites of inflammation like edema, congestion, etc. is usually lesser. So when the organism is terminated or eliminated, then the inflammation is terminated. Hindi dapat mag-continue inflammation because if the inflammation would continue despite the organism being eliminated already, then there could be damage to the tissues wherein these byproducts of your macrophages or neutrophils will be released into. Okay? And as I said, whether it's closely linked to tissue repair. So as you activate inflammation, may kasunod yan na repair process. Okay? Even mild, nire-repair pa rin yan. Okay? But in some instances, it may be harmful. Okay? So, ano yung harmful inflammation? It could be misdirected. Sabihin, pwedeng normal ng tissue, tapos nag-form ka na antibody against that tissue. So, auto-antibody tawag natin doon. Exemplified by autoimmune diseases. Okay? So, meron kang SLE, autoimmune yun. Okay? So, marami yung autoimmune natin, RA, etc. These are autoimmune diseases. If you have a misdirected type of inflammatory response. Or it could be a harmless substance like a pollen, okay, an allergen, that may incite allergic reaction. Yung dust, okay, it may trigger your bronchospasm, leading to bronchoconstriction in asthma. Okay? Or inflammation that is inadequately controlled. Kumbaga hindi kayang i-handle ng iyong katawan. If it's very dangerous kasi sabi nga natin, inflammation is actually a protective mechanism. So kapag wala kang inflammation nangyayari, for example, pag-proliferate yung organism kasi hindi sila may hand off, hindi sila mamamatay. So, magsesepsis yung pasyente. Okay? So, inadequately controlled. So, these are examples of your acute and chronic inflammation. Your bronchial asthma is classified as both acute and chronic. Because in bronchial asthma, there's a chronic repeated bouts of inflammation. Okay? Bronchospasm, bronchoconstriction. It could be acute exacerbation whenever you are exposed to particular allergens. Okay? So kung pasilin yung may mga hika, kapag dating ng panahon na marami yung pollens, yung lumilipad na puti. Diba? Palagi sila ina-atake. Okay? Particularly if they're not taking your medicines. Okay? So yung mga leukotrienes inhibitor natin, kapag hindi sila take nun, then inflammation would ensue, leading to bronchoconstriction, bronchospasm, and asthma. Or in patients wherein you could have a viral infection, like a plasma infection leading to pneumonia, that may damage the endothelial cells or the alveolar epithelium. Okay? So what happens here is that there would be significant release of fluid into the alveoli and causes exudation of protein outlining now the membrane or the surface of this alveoli. So that would lead to your acute lung injury, ARDS. Okay, so ano mangyayari sa pasyente na may ARDS? Because of the neutrophils damaging or the inflammatory cells together with the offending organism damaging that endothelial cell together with the alveolar epithelium, magkakaroon ng parang lining. Okay, that would build oxygen and carbon dioxide exchange. So mahirap siya kumiyak. Mahirapan. Even if you give your oxygen, they would be refractory to oxygen kasi meron nakapala. Okay? Again, it could include your glomerulonephritis again. So glomerulonephritis could be caused by streptococcus. So post-streptococcal glomerulonephritis, wherein you could have an antibody binding with the antigen and they would be deposited into the mesangium or into the vessels, leading now to your acute glomerulonephritis that may present with nephritic syndrome, hypertension, hematuria, hypertension, etc. Or in severe cases of your acute inflammation, unchecked. Tapos, yung organism supposed to be nasa lungs na siya, sa kidney lang siya, o yung gallbladder, pupunta sa systemic circulation. Okay? Pag-poison yung blood, ang tawag natin doon, sepsis. Okay? So pagkakaroon ng sepsis si pasyente, and this is usually mediated by your different cytokines like your DNF that may indicate for your acute inflammation in sepsis. That could lead to septic shock that may impact the patient. In chronic form, on the other hand, this is mediated by the macrophages, the lymphocytes, together with the eosinophils and some other inflammatory cells. And as I said a while ago, one of the best examples would be asthma, okay, together with your arthritis, which is actually a chronic autoimmune form, yung kapag RA, pero kapag osteoarthritis, again, it is lymphocyte related, a chronic form of your inflammation of the joints. Of course, in atherosclerosis, the blood vessel lumen is obstructed, narrowed because of the deposition of your cholesterol in the subintimal portion, engulfed by the macrophages, and you would note that in the necrotic center of that fibrous scalp. Okay, so may mga fibrous deposition dun sa subintimal portion, you have a lot of your foamy macrophages that engulf your cholesterol. That's your atherosclerosis. Or in condition for it, you have your different products like silica or asbestos or some other substances that will actually incite fibrogenesis, leading to interstitial fibrosis. Okay? So this picture shows to us the usual cardinal signs of acute inflammation. Kung pansinin ko namumula, so there's redness, okay? Nakaumpok, so there's swelling, okay? If you would feel that, it is warm. And, of course, it would be hard for that patient to actually move his hands. So, Celsus was able to describe the first four of the cardinal signs of acute inflammation, including rubor and calor, mediated by your vascular alteration of the caliber, the veno-neuroen, increased caliber, that's vasodilation, that brings about increased blood flow, causing redness and heat. Okay? So that's your rubor and calor. Subsequently, there would be contraction of the endothelial cells, thereby allowing fluid to leak out into the interstitial spaces. Then that's your edema formation. Okay? That causes your swelling of that area affected inflammation. That's your tumor. And of course, the anatomical metabolism would be activated, leading to conversion of your byproducts in the cyclooxygenase or lactoxidase pathway, particularly cyclooxygenase pathway, prostaglandin, that would bring about your pain in inflammation. But another mediator of pain inflammation would be your radiculin, produced from your prekallikrein, from your kininogen by prekallikrein. Okay? So you have your four. But subsequently, Rudolf Virchow was able to add the fifth sign of acute inflammation. That's your loss of function or functionality. According to John Hunter, inflammation is not a disease per se, but rather it is a reaction of the body that has a salutary effect on the host. It helps the body to eradicate this offending substance or organism. And Ivanchinov was able to actually demonstrate phagocytosis. Observe that an organism is being acted upon by a macrophage or a phagocyte. The two most common phagocyte in inflammation are your neutrophils and your macrophages or monocyte. Okay, that causes your phagocytosis. And Thomas Lewis subsequently observed in inflammation that chemical substances like your histamine released from the mast cell regulation would be key for vasodilation. Okay? So, sabi niya, there are several chemical substances like your histamine or serotonin that could alter the vascular structure. So what causes your inflammation? Just like cell injury, infection is one of the most common causes of your inflammation. It could be in the form of bacteria, okay, gram-positive or gram-negative. It could be in the form of your fungi. Okay. So it could be systemic or it could be just local candida. Okay. Or it could be virus, which is intracellular, ultramicroscopic, or even parasites, yung mga helminths natin. But even tissue necrosis, which is an outcome of the infection, could bring about inflammation, okay? Or not necessarily infection. Like for example, in acute myocardial infarction, there's necrosis, diba? There's infarct. So this will actually stimulate inflammatory response. Kaya first 24 hours, pagkakaroon ka ng neutrophils, again sa heart in patients with MI. Foreign bodies or certain dangerous substances, okay, includes your simple na splinter. Kasi nyo, pag nagsalugso kayo, okay, ginaganito kung sa pinupunasan ba yung table na kahoy, tapos biglang may pumasok, hindi ko pinansin. Bukas, namamaga, may parang puti, may dana. Okay? Because that's a foreign body. Or, for example, nagpa-opera kayo, tapos skin. Ang suture na nilalagay is silk suture, unabsorbable. Kasi meron kang absorbable at saka non-absorbable suture. Yung non-absorbable, sinasabi sa inyo, after 5 days or 7 days, balik ka para tanggalin. E nakalimutan mo, umabot ka ng 10 days. May nana na siya. Kasi nagre-react na yung katawan mo, this is suture. It's abscess or suture reaction tawag natin doon. It's inflammatory response against that foreign body. This is a suture. Okay? Mas lalo, naiwanan yung gasa sa loob ng tiyan, di ba? Nag-opera, naiwanan yung gasa, naiwanan yung forceps, foreign body yun. Maglalo magkakaroon ng inflammatory response. Okay? So, dangerous siya. Magkakaroon na ganun. Or it could be endogenous substances in large amount. Sabi natin kanina, it could be in a patient who is leukemic. Binigyan mo ng muscle blood drugs. Ano nangyari? Yung leukemic cells, pagla-lyse, magkakaroon ng lysis. Para-release yung uric acid sa loob ng nuclei. Diba DNA yun? So protein siya. So protein metabolism brings about urine. So uric acid. Ikaw pag meron siyang hyperuricemia, anong nangyayari? Magkakaroon ng deposition sa ibang parts ng body. Ikaw pag yan ay nagpunta sa joints, magkakaroon ng presente siya ng gouty, form of your acute arthritis. Or some others. Okay? Good cholesterol, good lipid, etc. Or immune reaction or hypersensitivity. Okay, so yung immune reaction natin serving as a good as a protective mechanism again, okay, for the body against any offending organism. Kasi meron kang innate, okay, na immunity. Kaya meron ka rin immune. Kumbaga parang yung antibody being produced by the plasma cells would try to bind with an antigen within the surface of this offending organism. Okay? So, hypersensitivity, marami yan. It could be your IgE-mediated type of hypersensitivity, anaphylaxis, anaphylactic reaction, or it could be delayed type of hypersensitivity like tuberculosis. Again, T-cell mediated naman siya. So, in the first step, there should be recognition of the offending organism or microbes in the dead tissues by the leukocytes being released in the area. Okay? So, paano nire-recognize? Of course, there should be activation of the leukocyte so that these receptors at their surfaces will be able to parang nakikita nila, naging malinaw yung mata nila. Okay? Para ma-sensor nila yung offending microbes or area of dead tissues. And this is mediated by your cellular receptor, primarily located in the plasma membrane, pag nasa labas na, or kapag kinain na, within the endosome, or if the organism is a virus, cytosolic, intracellular siya, cytosolic receptors, like your toll-like receptors. Or kung yan ay area ng necrosis, tissue damage, then there will be sensors of cell damage located in the cytoplasm or cytosol, exemplified by your toll-like receptors or enablers. Sinabi lang kanina, yung uric acid, iba na recognize siya kapag tumaas yung level, or even ATP, okay? Recognize siya. And this would actually activate your complex of protein, proteoflagazole, that would recruit further your inflammatory cells, like your neutrophils, because in the process of activation of your inflammazole, cytokines like your interleukin-1 will be released, which is very important for the activation of your, or recruitment of your WBC. It could also be mediated by the receptors for opsonin. Opsonins are byproducts of your complement pathway or your antibodies. Okay? So your B component of your complement are considered as opsonins, like your C3b and C3bi in active form. Circulating protein like your manus banding lectin or your manus and fucus that would actually recognize the carbohydrate molecule in the membrane of your organism, the sugar component, okay? And also your lectins that would change for this process, or the presence of your macrophages receptors like your MAC1. So in acute inflammation, what happens that once you have your histamine, for example, being released to mast cell degranulation, then it will build up on the venular end of your blood vessel, causing vasodilation. And vasodilation, as we said a while ago, would increase blood flow, okay? Causing now heat and redness, okay? So pallor and rubor. Subsequently, because of the increase in blood flow, there could be activation also of your endothelial cells, leading to endothelial contraction or retraction. So once this condition occurs, fluid will leak out into the interstitial space, leading to edema formation. At kapag nagkaroon ng edema, malilesen yung blood volume circulating in the lumen. So what happens that there would be now slowing of your blood flow, allowing your leukocytes to actually roll or tumble in the endothelial surface, aligning in that area, okay, in that process. Then afterwards, they would adhere, then goes out of that blood vessel, okay, from that microcirculation into the interstitial spaces. So, kung titignan natin, exudation or leaking out of this fluid could be either through your endothelial contraction or retraction that allows your fluid to go out of the blood of the circulation. Okay? This is mediated particularly by your histamine. Okay? So histamine causes increased vascular permeability because it causes your vasodilation. So it could be retraction. So yung mga junction, okay, na very tight, airtight, magkakaroon ng patlang. So doon mag-leak yung fluid. Okay? Or kapag nag-contract yung ating endothelial cells. So histamine release or bradykinin or leukotriene would cause your short-lived transient contraction, allowing this fluid initially to go out. But in some instances, there could be a prolonged delayed leakage that could be incited by several mechanisms, like for example burns, okay, or presence of toxins or irritation that leads to your delayed prolonged leakage of your fluid. Okay? While on the other hand, if there is severe burn causing damage to the endothelial cell, or there are significant toxins damaging the endothelial cell itself, so nasira yung endothelial cell, siyempre makakalusot na fluid doon. Okay, and goes out into the interstitial spaces, allowing edema formation. So once fluid leaks out, ma-alter yung blood flow. Mag-slow down. And that would be a time now for the leukocytes to roll or actually tumble, aligning at the endothelial surface. And that's usually mediated by a substance in the form of your selectin. So your PN, the endothelial cells when activated, would actually cause your selectins located in the surfaces to be very activated, that includes your PNP selectin binding with your L-selectin to the ligand Sialyl-Lewis X. Okay? So your integrin subsequently would be activated from a low affinity state to your high affinity state. So once your integrin would be activated into high affinity state, then it would be able to bind with the receptor again at the surface of your leukocytes. Okay? So yung ICAM1 and VICAM1 that is present in the surface of endothelial cells will bind to your LFA or to your MAC1 and your VLA4, okay, in the surface of your leukocytes. Subsequently, your leukocyte would bind to the surface, to the receptor, the surface of your endothelial cell. That would include your platelet endothelial cell adhesion molecule 1 or PCAM1, that's your CD31, before it goes out into the interstitial space. Okay? To go into the area of inflammation or infection. So rolling, as we said a while ago, is mediated by your PNP selectin in the endothelial side, binding with your L-selectin in the leukocyte side. Okay? Mediated by your Sialyl-Lewis X as a ligand in both sides. Okay? Which is present mostly in your neutrophils and even your macrophages or monocytes. So and your film adhesion is mediated by your integrins. Sabi natin, integrins. So we have your VICAM1 and ICAM1, okay, in the endothelial surface, binding with MAC1 and LFA1 kapag ICAM1, and your VLA4 for your VCAM1. Okay? Again, it could be seen in the neutrophils and the monocytes. So going back, that's the process before it goes out of that circulation into this interstitial space to go to the area of your infection. Okay, so the microbes, it would go to that area in the process. By the way, exuding out of this neutrophils or macrophages out of its circulation is called diapedesis or transmigration. And the movement of these leukocytes to the site of injury is called chemotaxis. So chemotaxis is a locomotion of your leukocytes oriented along a chemical gradient. When I say chemical gradient, is your chemoattractants. This could be the form of exogenous agent or endogenous agent. And one of the most common exogenous agent would be your microbial products or bacterial products located within the cell wall of this organism. Okay? So it could be a peptides that possess your N-formylatidyl intermediate acid, it could be the lipid component of the bacteria, or it could be endogenous agents, okay? Including your chemokines, chemokine family, the cytokine, okay? Together with the complement system components, particularly C3A, which serves as an aflatoxin, okay? And your butane B4 in the lipoxygenase pathway of your arachidonic acid metabolism. These products is a strong chemotactic agent. Okay? So by the way, your different types of your chemokines would be in the form of your mga CX, mga ganun CXC or CC or CX3. So meron kang mga different types of your chemokines. We produce for each of these different leukocytes. Okay? Meron ka eotaxin, may lymphotactin, may fractalkine. Okay, so iba-iba yung different types. So you could have two adjacent cysteine molecules among the four. Okay, pwedeng isa lang meron. So, different types of your chemokines. If they have their own receptors. Like for example, for the HIV, di ba, meron kang CCR4 receptors in the surfaces. So the tissues that infiltrate located in the end of inflammation would be dependent on the time frame from the time of activation of your leukocytes or from the time frame is inflammatory response. In the first 24 hours, it will be predominantly neutrophil. For bacterial, okay, for viral, hindi siya neutrophil, siyempre, lymphocytes agad yung makikita natin doon. Okay? Mostly, but not all. Okay? Most of your viral infections mostly would be lymphocyte initially. Okay? And after 24 hours, it will be replaced now by macrophages, activated monocytes will come to macrophages. Bakit? Nakarating na kasi yung neutrophils doon, sabi natin doon sa lignin. Kapag nag-release na sila ng substance nila, namamatay sila through apoptosis after 24 hours. So, mapapalitan siya ng macrophages or activated monocytes. Okay? So, exception again to the rule. Kapag Pseudomonas infection, even 48 hours, minsan makikita ka pa rin mas maraming neutrophils. Okay? Kasi mahirap patayin ang Pseudomonas. Okay? So that's one of the exception to the rule. Just like your viral infection for your first 24 hours. Again, the process of eliminating this organism is through the effect of your receptors. Kailangan ma-recognize nila, okay, para makapag-bind sila. Okay, so and these are different receptors that we said by below. Okay? So, in the process of phagocytosis, kailangan yung tatlong steps. First is recognition and attachment. Okay, take note, pagkadikit yan. Without recognition, hindi yan makapag-attach. Parang yung punta ka ng airport, hinahanap mo yung kapag-anak mo na hindi mo nakikita for 20 years. Hindi mo yung nahawakan hanggat hindi siya, pero recognize, alam na hawakan mo kung sino-sino doon, di ba? Makakabayan mo lang yun, kung nakasigurado mo na siya yung kapag-anak mo. Recognition and attachment. Okay? So kung nakasumbrero siya ng pula, hindi kayo magkakilala-gala, nakasumbrero ako ng pula. At dahil nakasumbrero ng pula pala, naka-t-shirt ako ng puti. Isang t-shirt ng puti, naka-maong, naka-blue na rubber shoes. Pag-please recognize, diba? Okay? So there's recognition, then there will be attachment. After attachment, then your macrophages or neutrophils would form your phagocyte. Okay? So, pag-explode siya ng kanilang plastic membrane, and flow siya forming phagocytic vacuole. Hindi siya doon sa phagocytic vacuole. Phagocytic vacuole natin, pag-didikit siya with the lysozyme, forming phagolysozyme. Okay? So, kailangan to para sa killing, yung third step. Okay? Killing or degradation of intestinal material. Killing kapag microbes yan. Kapag necrotic tissue, kailangan mo i-degrade. Kasi necrotic na siya, patay na siya eh. Hindi mo naman patayin. Diba? Hindi mo naman patayin yung patayin. So, i-degrade mo siya, in necrotic tissues. Paano? Okay. If it's an organism na buhay, then it could be mediated by the release of different enzymes stored within the lysozyme. Okay? So, sa lysozyme ng macrophage o neutrophil, meron mga different enzymes meron dyan. Sa neutrophils, kapag yan ay nasa early stages, meron mga tinatawag na azurophilic granules or primary granules. Okay? Azurophilic granules, starch yan na nag-appear dun sa myelocyte states. Okay? Myelocyte states. kapag pagdating niya ng metamyelosite, hindi mapapalitan na ito ng specific granules, secondary granules na siya. At yung substance inside, mapapalitan din siya. Okay? So, myeloperoxidase is present within these primary granules, but your collagenases, gelatinases, your histamine would be in the secondary granules, specific granules of your neutrophils. Kaya sa acute inflammation na severe, nagkakaroon ng shift in the left. Okay? Hindi lang mature neutrophil nakikita mo. Meron mga pads. May metamyelosite. Sometimes, actually, wala namang myelosite doon. Kasi kapag nakita ng myelosite doon, ibig sabihin, leukemia na yan. So, may metamyelosite kung saan meron pa rin primary granules. Okay? Bakit kailangan mag-release ng metamyelosite sa circulation? In severe infection. Kasi nandun si myeloperoxidase. And your myeloperoxidase, hydrogen peroxide, myeloperoxidase halide system is the most potent bactericidal system in the neutrophils. Okay? Kaya kailangan mo i-release yung younger form ng polymorphonuclear cells. Okay? Yung metamyelocytes or band cells para meron kang myeloperoxidase. Without this myeloperoxidase, it would be hard for the organism to actually kill that cell. Naging yung offending organism na yun. Pero pwede pa rin naman, backpads. Meron naman siyang oxidative burst na tinatawag, di ba? So, yung oxidative burst naman natin, or respiratory burst, is through your combination, okay, of your hydrogen peroxide, myeloperoxidase, okay, and halide. Yung chloride, okay, now-convert siya to become hypochlorite. Ano ba yung pumapasok sa isip nyo kapag narinig yung word na hypochlorite? Bleeds, di ba? Yung home bleeds, Zonrox, Clorox. Bakit napaka-effective ng hypochlorite sa virus? Okay? Kasi ito actually as a kumbaga, sinisira niya yung mismong virus. Kaya kapag ang COVID, di ba? Kapag nililinis, hypochlorite or even alcohol. Okay? So this system is very important for the process of eliminating your organism. In patients wherein your oxidative radical is absent or lacking, ano mangyayari? There are at risk of developing a chronic granulomatous inflammation. Okay, kapag hindi intact yung respiratory burst na tinatawag, yung generation of superoxide, hydrogen peroxide, and hydroxyl ions. Okay? Of course, your peroxynitride could be produced from your reducible nitric oxide kasi meron kang tatlong nitric oxide, di ba? Ano yan? Endothelial, uronal, at saka inducible. From the leukocytes. Yung inducible lang, very important in the process of your inflammation. There could be also formation of your neutrophil extracellular traps. So, ang ginagawa ni inflammatory cell, nire-release niya yung kanyang nuclear component, forming mesworm. Okay? And this would trap actually the microorganism. Ini-immobilize niya. Okay? But in some instances, there could be frustrated phagocytosis, particularly infections that are difficult to eradicate, causing leukocyte-mediated injury. Again, so, nagka-damage yung area ng adjacent na inflammation, inflammatory reaction. Okay? So, sabi natin na, inaccomplete directed against host tissues, mga antigen, antibody produced against your self-antigen. Okay? So, cross-reaction, like for example, in rheumatic heart disease, cross-reaction between the M protein and the bacterial cell wall of your Streptococcus. So, again, cross-reacts excessively against your harmless environmental substances in allergic reaction or in some anaphylactic reactions. Di ba yung peanut? Sarap ng peanut, di ba? Peanut butter. Pero peanut butter, dangerous yung mga may peanut allergy. May cause anaphylactic shock ng them. So, pwede magkaroon ng leukocyte-mediated injury. So, what are the mediators of inflammation? Okay? So, inflammation is mediated primarily by your vasoactivins like your serotonin and histamine, the two more common forms. Your lipid products like your prostaglandins in the cyclooxygenase pathway of arachidonic acid metabolism, and your nucleases in the lipoxygenase pathway, together with your cytokines, yung mga chemokines na sinabi natin kanina. Okay? Together with the complement fragments. So, yung complement fragments natin, activate siya triggered by the classical alternative and deductive pathway. Okay? So, they're classified either as cell-derived or plasma-derived. First, you can say cell-derived. These are produced by your sentinel cells that are present within different organs. Okay? So, these are macrophages that are present in there. And then, as you have the other macrophages. In the liver, we have your copper cells. In the brain, you have your microglial cells. Okay? In the lymph nodes, you have your sinusocytes. So, lahat mga ito, mga sentinel cells. Para kapag nagkaroon ka infection sa paa or sa kamay, mag-drain yung lymphatics mo sa axillary portion dun sa ulanin. Okay? So, magkakaroon ka ngayon ng checkpoint para kung mga sundalo na nanguhuli, tumakas na sila ng mga preso. Okay? Naka-corner sila doon. Kasi doon naman dadaanan. Plasma-derived, okay, synthesis were delivered particularly the complement components. Ayan, complement proteins. These mediators are actually produced in response to various stimuli. Okay? And one mediator can actually stimulate the release of other mediators. The problem with your inflammatory mediators, some of them are short-lived. Okay? So, kailangan continuous release of these inflammatory mediators. Particularly histamine. After ma-release nun, nag-action din sa endothelial cells, vasodilation. After that, mawawala ng effect. So, it could be short-lived. So, these are samples of your